Production for Panther Sports Talk is brought to you in part by Johnson's Automotive Service is a proud supporter of Panther Sports on WEIU. Johnson's is a complete car facility for all your automotive repair and maintenance needs. Johnson's Automotive Service, keeping your life running.
Welcome to another edition of Panther Sports Talk right here on WIU. I'm your host, Rich Moser. EIU Basketball in the OVC tournament this week. We're talking first with EIU men's basketball coach Jay Spoonhour, and then later with EIU women's basketball coach Debbie Black. And coach, deja vu all over again, I guess, in terms of the tournament. You guys came down into the season, a game of importance against SIU Edwardsville. You won that to lock up a spot, and you draw Southeast Missouri, same as you guys did last year, same seeding scenario, same game on Wednesday night down there.
Everything's the same, and it's the same in respect that they're really a talented group. I mean, they were last year, and they are again. And so, you know, we probably matched with them better this year than we did last year, but you still don't feel very good about playing them, just because they've got, you know, Bradley was probably the, you know, J.J. Mann's a very good player, Cameron Payne, very good player, but in terms of like explosive scoring guy, Bradley's been the best player in the league in that regard the whole year. And then you know, he had a couple pretty good games against us, not like big-time great games, but really solid games. And then Stone has a double-double both times. At our place, Darren Smith makes a bunch of threes. So there's just so many guys that you have to worry about on our team that it makes it kind of tough.
Now, you talk about how you guys match up better this year than you did last year, and a lot of that is based on how you guys kind of turned the roster over and went a little bit more big, a little bit more athletic, because they are, I would say, probably the biggest team in the league.
Yeah,
when you talk about matchups.
Especially if you're talking size and athleticism. They've got both, and so it's we are better with, you know, now that you can put Chris out there and Luke out there, you at least have the size to go with them. They're strong. I mean, inside Stone and Nino Johnson are both really, really strong guys. And so the other thing that gets you is that their guards they have a couple of 6'6", 6'7" guards. And so they'll post up and they'll go rebound. That's what really got us at our place, is that their guards rebounded it on us. And that made it tough. They got a lot more points in the paint than we've allowed from, you know, we've been pretty good about guarding the paint, and they were able to go score on us. And you know, I'm not sure that it won't be the same situation. I think that's just, they're good at it. They're going to score in the paint. We just have to limit how many times they get easy ones.
This will be the third time you play them in a span of about 5 weeks. I guess when you're looking at film with the team, there evidently were things that both teams changed from game one to game two. Mm-hmm. I guess the process for scouting kind of evolves now that there's a third game.
Well, and you know, they hurt us with different things in each game. At their place, they pressed us, and they pressed, I think, mainly because we jumped out to a lead on them. And so they hurt us with their press at their place. At our place, it was they zoned a lot defensively, and we had a hard time with that. You know, I think for us, everything remains the same in what we have to do, and that is we got into this at Edwardsville a little bit where we took quick shots early in the game, took bad shots, we're a little too excited. And the same thing will hold true with this game. If you go down there and shoot it up real fast, that's right into what they want to do. They want to get, I mean, my gosh, their last game that was 118 to 115. So you know what they want to do, and we're not going to have any success if it's a game like that.
Now, you talked about the other day at SIU Edwardsville, you guys picked up an important win. One of the stats that kind of stood out, and I know you talked about this after the game, is Reggie Smith finishes with, I think, 19 points, and most of them come at the free throw line, which means that he was doing a good job of what a point guard needs to do, is penetrate, draw contact, and go to the free throw line. That would be something that would work well against Southeast Missouri if the game was called that way and he was able to penetrate.
Yeah, you know, for him, his whole life he's been a scorer, and he had his best game of the year, I thought, and he only took 5 shots, you know, and so for a guy who's used to scoring a lot of baskets, that's a big change. And so for him to start recognizing that he can be a huge benefit to our team, because he really defended and he handled the ball and he stabilized our team, made good plays, that's really, you know, it's kind of what our team needs. It's taken away a little bit of what Reggie's good at, but it's what we need. And so if early in the year he got to the line really well. He was getting to the line a lot, and it was nice to see him do that again. You know, it's a stretch to say that we're a great scoring team inside. Chris is pretty good, but he's still right around 50%. It's not like he's making 75% of his shots. So as many times as we can get to the line and get easy ones like that, that's pretty good.
Now, this will be a new team going down to Nashville for you guys this year. Really, the only two players that played significant minutes down there against SEMO were Josh Piper and Sherman Blanford.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this will be a new experience for most of those guys. I guess how do you kind of keep them somewhat focused on the task at hand, realizing that it's losing, you're done, but at the same time, there's multiple games that you have to play in order to get to the big prize.
It was losing, we were done the other day too. So that part of it, and we responded really well to that. You look at what's immediately in front of you, and immediately in front of us is SEMO. If you do want to look at the bracket, it's really a hard trip through. I mean, it's Eastern Kentucky after that, and then it's, I don't know, who's it, Murray or Belmont. Yeah. At that point, it doesn't matter. But there's no question. It's hard, but you're going to have to beat them all anyway. I mean, there's not one coach in this tournament that says, well, we're really happy with our draw, because everybody in this tournament is pretty darn good and can beat everybody else. So, I think our guys feel pretty good. At least we're coming off a good game, and we played well. So that's a good way to go into the tournament.
And you guys will actually go into the tournament on a 2-game win streak. I think a lot of people forget you had the non-conference win over against Chicago State, which allowed you to get a home game there. In addition to the conference tournament, they'll also announce the all-conference teams this week. Sherman Blanford will have a chance. He should be up there, considered for first team, and a couple guys up there for all newcomer team. I guess what does that kind of mean to you as a coach to have those guys, especially for Sherman, a senior that's really come on and helped you get started here in your career at Easton?
He's been unbelievable. I mean, I hope he makes first team, but I tell you what, in looking at, when we did our votes, you don't vote for your own guys. And so I'm voting for everybody else on the team. And, wow, there's just a lot of really good players. It's possible that Sherman would not make first team, although he's played like a first team guy. Really, for the last, 7 or 8 games, he's been unbelievable. And there's no shame in not being first team in this league right now, because there's some really, really good players that'd be above him. But he has definitely played like a guy who deserves it. And everybody who he plays against comes up and makes sure they tell him.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck down there. Reminder, that'll be the second game on Wednesday night. You'll be able to hear the broadcast on Hitmix 88.9 WIU. We're going to say about 8:15 is probably going to be tip time. It's supposed to be 25 minutes after the first game, so somewhere in there. 8 o'clock is what they've got scheduled right now for the pregame show for the radio broadcast. Mike Brad and Jack Ashmore will have that call. Be right back with This Week in EIU Athletics.
Panther fans, here's what's going on in Panther athletics. Men's basketball wins at SIU Edwardsville this past Saturday, 78-74, to make the OVC tournament as the number 7 seed. They're 11-18 overall and 7-9 in OVC play. Women's basketball dropped their final 2 regular season games as they entered the OVC tournament as the number 8 seed. They're 12-15 overall and 7-9 in OVC play. Indoor track competed at the OVC Indoor Track Championships in Nashville, Tennessee this past weekend, and both the men's and women's teams placed second overall. Baseball continued their tough non-conference schedule to open the 2014 season. They're now 2-10 overall. They lost at number 9 Louisville 6-0 last Tuesday and went 1-3 at the Mississippi State tourney, with their one win coming against Michigan State 10-5 in 10 innings. Softball now 13-6 on the season as they went 4-1 at the Charleston Southern tourney, 2 wins apiece against Appalachian State and Colgate. And women's tennis remains undefeated at 6-0, winning 7-2 at Indianapolis. Now here's what to watch for this week. On Wednesday, prior to the airing of this show, women's basketball took on Eastern Kentucky in the first round of the OVC Basketball Tournament. For the result and stats of that game, check out EIUPanthers.com. Also taking place prior to the airing of this show, men's tennis was at Bradley. For the result and stats of that match, check out EIUPanthers.com. And tonight, Wednesday, March 5th at 8 o'clock, men's basketball takes on Southeast Missouri State in the first round of the OVC Basketball Tournament. You can listen to that game on Hitmix 88.9 WEIU, or you can watch the game online at the OVC Digital Network. On Thursday, both Panther basketball teams in action if they won their Wednesday first-round OVC tournament games. For updates, results, and stats, if the Panthers have continued on in the OVC tournament, check out EIUPanthers.com. On Friday, men's and women's tennis with their first outdoor match at Darling Courts on EIU's campus as they take on Lindenwood at 1 o'clock. And baseball with their first OVC series of the season. The series was scheduled to be played at EIU, but due to weather, the series moves to Edwardsville with the first game at 3 o'clock. On Saturday, baseball with Game 2 of their 3-game series at SIU Edwardsville at 1 o'clock. And softball begins competition at the Coastal Carolina Tourney. They'll take on Appalachian State at 3:30 and Furman at 5:30. On Sunday, men's and women's golf are both in Jacksonville, Florida, as they begin competition at the Don Benbow Butler Invite. Softball continues their play at the Coastal Carolina Tourney. They'll take on Bryant at 9 in the morning and Furman for a second time in the tourney at 1 o'clock. And baseball wraps up their 3-game series against SIU Edwardsville at 1 o'clock. On Monday, men's and women's golf with day 2 at the Don Benbow Butler Invite in Jacksonville, Florida, and softball with a doubleheader at the Coastal Carolina Tourney against the host Coastal Carolina, with the games at 12 and 2 o'clock. On Tuesday, men's and women's golf with day 3 at the Don Benbow Butler Invite, softball with a doubleheader at East Carolina with games at 1 and 3 o'clock. And baseball steps back out of conference as they're at number 4 ranked Vanderbilt at 4 o'clock. And next Wednesday, March 12th, men's and women's golf with their 4th day of action at the Don Benbow Butler Invite in Jacksonville, Florida. For Panther Sports Talk, I'm Ramin Kabasioun.
Welcome back to Panther Sports Talk. We continue our OVC Basketball Tournament edition, now joined by EIU Women's Basketball Coach Debbie Black. Coach, first run through the OVC. You guys get into the tournament. I know not the way you wanted to get into the tournament because it was really in somebody else's hands, but new season, new life. I guess that's the approach you got to take with this team now, is that, you know, this is game 1, we're 0-0 now.
Absolutely. You know, this is definitely, I mean, what you're like playing for is to get into that, and now it's a new season. I think that you hit the nail on the head there. It's a new season. Anyone can beat anybody. We have to approach it like that. We got to play like that.
You guys haven't played Eastern Kentucky since, I don't even know that people remember. It was the first of like the 5 blizzards we've had this summer,
Yep.
way back in early January. They've probably got a much different look to them now as you guys do, and it's probably a whole new scouting process, I'm imagining, since it's been 2 months since you played.
Yeah, you know, I mean, they don't have a lot of different personnel, but we're all playing differently at this time of year. They're struggling a little bit. They lost their last 3 games. We lost our last 2 games. So it'll be an interesting matchup. And there's it's a pretty competitive rivalry with these 2 teams that I found out as a new coach. So it will be fun to, you know, see where we're at. But we've been here. We've been kind of doing this all year, fighting to get to the next level.
And their feature player is a guard, Marie Carpenter. She leads them in scoring and assists, shoots a lot of threes, also gets to the line a lot. The ball is going to pretty much run through her hands. And looking back to how you guys played them 2 months ago, she just kind of had an off day, and you guys were able to get some other things going. She's still, I'm going to imagine, the focus in order to try to beat them.
Yeah, you know, in conference play, she actually shoots 160 more shots than anybody else on their team. So it's one of those things where we have to make her take tough shots. She's going to get her attempts. She's a scorer, obviously. She's a volume scorer. So she's going to have to take a lot. It's a matter of how we defend her. And, you know, at some point, there's a little luck there. You hope she misses some shots.
Now, this will be your first time going down there to Nashville. The girls on your team, even though a lot of them weren't key players in the last couple of years, this will be yet another trip for them down there, 7 straight now for the women to the tournament. How do I guess you keep them focused with this being your first trip there? I mean, you're kind of filling out how the OVC tournament works here, your first time through, and they're probably used to doing things a certain way that you're going to kind of have to keep in check.
Ironically, the last loss we had against SIUE might have helped us in a weird kind of way. The fact that we got into the tournament is obviously, you know, you get opportunities once in a while in your life, and they understand that. I think this group particularly, because they've been to the tournament the last 3 years as seniors, they really haven't been participants. They've been sitting there. I think they get it. I think they get it, and I think they, you know, will, you know, this is a new team, a new season, and we're just going to see what we can do. And, you know, I don't, you know, anything can go in this tournament. The whole season's been like this, so it means this is no different. In the truth, we can't have Sabi and Caitlin taking those few shots. They need to take somewhere in the 15. That's when if you look at us statistically, that's when we win. So we put in a couple little wrinkles that should help us to help them. Because you know what, if I'm looking at my team, I think the best way to scout yourself is to look at yourself. Like say, what would I do to EIU? What would I do? How would I play? And we just put some things in that will get, you know what, whether the ball goes in or not, we have to get the ball into the best shooter's hands in order for us to win. So we did a lot of work yesterday on that, continue to do that. And yeah, that's an easy thought as far as the other team. Why not just face guard her? But we'll certainly counter that.
Now, in the game that you guys beat them back here, EIU was able to get to the free throw line quite a bit. It was kind of the plan in that game is to drive it to the basket, have them foul you in that game. They're probably going to change a little bit defensively, make sure that we're not just scoring points at the free throw line.
The biggest concern I probably have is they had 18 offensive rebounds. And we have to, last game, SIUE had 17. So we've been addressing that problem. We're a pretty good rebounding team, but if we were to box out more, we'd probably get more fouls for us. So we're finding ways this late in the season how we can get better. If we can get teams to go over our back, it's going to help us. And I don't think the girls just started to realize that.
Now, the other thing is postseason awards will be announced on Tuesday after we tape the show. Sabina Orasova should be up, one of the players considered for a first team. Also, Caitlin and Jordan may have an opportunity to get on there. I guess just talk about how those three players have evolved in your system and kind of thrived this year in the conference play from what you've seen as a coach your first year with them.
Yeah, considering, I guess, their lack of experience, they haven't played that much. They haven't been key players. I think it's unfortunate I don't have some of them back again, in the sense that, we could really help them. That's just how it works, help them develop a little bit more. But, you can see we play them almost 40 minutes a game. So they've come a long way. We're still a little inconsistent, but I think this tournament will be a good measure of how much maybe they learned from us and how much they've grown. But to get in the tournament, and I think we've, for the most part, we are where we should be as far as, not saying talent, but as far as growth. Like, we've just been through some ups and downs, so.
Okay, Coach, very good. Best of luck over there. Remember, the Panthers will play the first game on Wednesday. It'll be a noon start. It'll actually already be over. You'll be able to see the score by time this actually broadcast. The women's game is at noon. The men's game is at about 8:15 on Wednesday night. If the teams win, they'll play the exact same times on Thursday and Friday against opponents to be determined. We'll wrap up this week's show with some features on two newcomers that have helped both teams this year, one on Erica Brown for the women's team and one on Dylan Chatman for the men's basketball team. That wraps up the OVC Tournament edition of Panther Sports Talk right here on WIU. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Reggie holds it, top of the key, Chatman. Deep three-pointer, yes! Dylan Chatman from beyond the top of the key.
EIU men's and women's basketball have each made it to this year's Ohio Valley Conference tournament, and both have had first-year players emerge into contributing roles. On the men's side, that comes in the form of junior transfer Dylan Chatman, a walk-on player who's become a starter and key contributor for Coach Jay Spoonhour's team. Chatman says walking on was what he needed to do to chase his dream.
I was recruited by NAIA schools and Division II schools, but my ultimate goal was to become a D1 player. So I knew what I could do, and I felt if I could prove that, then I could get on the court. I was going to be a walk-on, and my only two choices were SIUE and here. And Coach Spoon, he told me that there was a player last year who walked on, he started, and he told me if I could come in and work hard, play defense, and do things that he heard I can do, then I can get on the court.
I watched him play because we were recruiting. He played on the same team with Matt Petrowski, and so I saw him play a few times. But it was just one of those things that he had some scholarship offers from some low Division II or NAI, and we weren't really in the position where we could use a scholarship for a guard. And he's a great kid. Good student, good kid. And he said, "Hey, I think I want to do this." And we were happy. And he's played really. I knew he could guard. He's played better offensively than I thought that he would do. He's to the point now. We were trying. We would get him in here and there at the beginning of the year. He played 12, however many minutes. But he's worked himself into where he is a guy you can't take out. Even when he has a game where he doesn't shoot it well. It was easy to play him when he was making a lot of shots. He was shooting it in, but. He had a bad shooting game last game, and he still plays a lot of minutes because he guards so well.
Try to keep a chip on my shoulder because knowing I was a walk-on, I was going to have to work harder than everybody else. So I didn't get discouraged at the beginning of the season when I wasn't playing that much. So I just kept my head in, trying to figure out what Coach wanted me to do, and I figured it out a little bit, and he's getting me on the court now. Improved, I wouldn't say my defense, but that's always what I've been good at. So I don't know, talking to my players and trying to understand, like what they're good at so I can be a better leader on the court. Well, what got me on the court here is playing defense, and that's how I started off, was getting playing time, and as time went along, I proved that I can score a little bit, so coach is giving me more freedom to go in and score, but still I got to play defense to stay on the court. Like I said, when I first got here, I wasn't trying to do too much. I was trying to fit in and see what everybody else can do first, but now as I'm getting more playing time, I'm trying to look to score and trying to help my team out offensively. Because we have Sherm down there, the stats that he's putting up are crazy right now, so we got to keep feeding him the ball. So if I have an open shot, I'm going to look to take it.
EIU is entering the conference tournament as the number 7 seed, and Chatman said once this year's over, he's got high hopes for his senior season.
Next year, it's going to be looking nice because we have CO for a whole season, Chris, and all of our guards are like freshmen. So we have a lot of freshman guards, so we're a young team, and I'll be a senior next year, so hopefully I can bring some experience to the guys who didn't play as much on the court. Hopefully I'll get a scholarship. That's my ultimate goal. And I think that I will be a leader for next year. And I know our record wasn't that good this year, but if we can get into postseason play, then I feel next year we have high hopes for our team.
They give it to Brown at the top of the key. She drives all the way to the basket, clothesline.
While Chatman has emerged on the men's side, the women's team has seen freshman forward Erica Brown come in and earn some significant playing time in only her first year as a Panther.
Worked out great, actually. I mean, yeah, consider the bumps along the way. I was being recruited by other schools, and Eastern was always there for me. Like, they recruited me since my junior year in high school, I believe. And so they were always a consideration for me. And after visiting the school and the campus, and I don't know, it just fit right. It was like, I always heard people say that, and until I visited Eastern, I could understand what they're coming from. It did fit well for me. I liked the team, I liked the campus, they had what I needed academically, so it was just a perfect match.
Erica's been a success story, really. You know, she hurt her shoulder, so had shoulder surgery in the summer. So coming into school, she was behind and really worked hard to get herself back on the court. And we've been ecstatic with her progress. Like you said, she paid her dues and she worked her way in, and now she's giving us tremendous minutes, both offensively and defensively. Defensively, she's one of our best players, and we count on her for her consistency. So we're excited for the future for her as well. You know, it really took her back. You know, it's pretty significant. So to, you know, come into a new school at another level and, you know, carrying that kind of injury, it's a tremendous credit to her work ethic. She's a very cerebral kid, very bright young lady, and has a really good work ethic. All those things combined are getting her on the floor and giving us great minutes.
It took a lot of work. I was out for a good 7 months, I would say, in a sling for a good month, and by the time I came back, it took a while to get the strength back and the muscle, and even then my shot, it took a while to get my shooting down because it was hard to raise above my head and all that stuff, but with working hard every day, it came back, and I continue to keep working hard, so I overcame that.
Coach Foley said that while Brown's play has set her apart as the season has gone on, it's her positive attitude that makes her such a joy to coach.
She's a really good kid, first and foremost, so she's easy to like. She's a freshman, so she's got to, you know, pay her dues that way as well. But like I said, she's willing to do anything for anybody, and so that's always a good teammate. So she's a teammate first, which is great.
Honestly, just, I guess, working hard every day in practice, coming prepared, doing what you have to do on the court, off the court, and doing what the coach asks you to do. And her giving me that, she gave us all opportunities to play, and she gave me an opportunity, and I guess I did something she liked out there, so I'm just grateful for the opportunity that she's given me, especially as a freshman.
Tremendous versatility, I think, and she doesn't even know it yet, which is really cool. From her standpoint, I think with the injury and coming in, we didn't know what she could do, and I don't think she knows what she can do, and we're finding she can play on the perimeter as well. So I think as she evolves as a player over time here, she's going to step out to the perimeter a lot more. And currently now she's playing the 4 for us, but I think in the future you might see her out there playing a little bit of 3.
Nothing's guaranteed. I've learned that, you know, the hard way. I mean, nothing is guaranteed. You got to make sure you're here every day. You can't just expect it. So I'm hoping that with hard work and showing up every day to practice that I would be considered in the starting rotation, but I know it's not going to be given to me. I mean, there's going to be new incoming players coming in, so I got to think about that too.
With both Panther basketball teams looking toward their futures, it seems that Brown and Chatman have nothing but bright things ahead of them.
Our record's not that good, but like somehow we come to practice every day with the mindset that like next game we're going to win. We never gave up, and coach has never given up on us. Like that's one thing that I really love about this team.
Reporting for Panther Sports Talk, I'm Brad Kupiak.
Production for Panther Sports Talk is brought to you in part by Johnson's Automotive Service is a proud supporter of Panther Sports on WEIU. Johnson's is a complete car facility for all your automotive repair and maintenance needs. Johnson's Automotive Service, keeping your life running.